Library Trustees of the Arlington Heights Memorial Library, Tuesday, July 19th, 2022. Could we have a roll call?
Trustee Gal? We're good?
Here.
Trustee Gala? Trustee Meadow?
Here.
Trustee Rule is currently not here. Trustee Smart?
Here.
Trustee Samari is absent. Trustee Sucklet?
Here.
President Zig is absent.
Okay, do we have any public comments?
Chair speaking. Don't use the village for permit fee waivers. Let the bookkeeping reflect the cost of offering services.
Thank you. Okay, liaison reports. We've got Friends of the Library.
Do not have a report for the Friends or the Foundation. Both of them are on hiatus.
Okay. All right. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of June 21st, 2022?
I so move approval of the June 21st, 2022 board meeting minutes.
Do you have a Second. Second. Any additions, corrections? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, moving right along here. Now review the financial report.
Okay. For revenue, the real estate tax revenue totaled $34,067.66 for the month of June. The library was awarded $114,572.10 for the 2022 Illinois Public Library per capita grant. Last year, this amount was approximately $111,000. We collected non-resident card fee revenue in the amount of $227. Our copier printer revenue totaled $3,162.62. Lost item charges totaled $1,227.76. May interest was $983.35. Donations totaled $501.68. And other income was $1,298.40. Revenue collected for vehicle stickers totaled $407. That was a record in June with 42 stickers sold this month. And let's see, we have 152 sold so far this year versus 66 as of June last year, and 224 for 2021. Miscellaneous Makerspace revenue was $251.50, bringing the total revenue collected in June to $156,894.13. On the expense side, 50% of the fiscal year has lapsed, and we have expensed 45% of our total operating budget. The favorable variance to date is $705,330, and 60% of the total annual capital budget has been expensed as of June. And the bulk of those capital expenditures is, of course, the HVAC replacement. That is everything I have on the financial report.
Any questions? Okay. Moving on, review the check register.
Okay, I have a few checks to review here. On page 1 and page 4, check 83652 to M&J Technologies in the amount of $13,071.67. This payment is for a 3-year renewal of the Sophos antivirus software that protects all of the staff computers, public computers, as well as all of our servers. The 3-year renewal reflects a significant discount over the annual renewal cost option. Also on page 1 and represented on page 9, check 83666 to Rails on the amount of $13,908.50. That is our EBSCO database package. The total cost of the annual service is $27,817. 50% is on page 1 is a prepaid, and 50% is on page 9 as the calendar year expenditure. So the renewal reflects a new discount for Rails member libraries and provides additional access to online products at an overall reduced cost. Also on page 1, check 83633, John Keister and Associates, in the amount of $10,600. Executive director search fees for our deputy director position, and Dana is scheduled to start on next Tuesday, 7/26. On page 2, check 83672. Schlesinger Machinery in the amount of $1,500. That was a repair to parts for a clamp that had deteriorated on a ream cutter that's used by our marketing department for in-house custom print jobs. Also on page 2, check 83698 for all promotions in the amount of $2,340.82. That was for giveaways. It was 500 each of die cut erasers, tote bags, rulers, and seed paper bookmarks. These will be distributed by youth services and the outreach staff during the second half of the year at various visits to promote library collection services and programs. On page 3, check 83653 to Ron Morave in the amount of $386.57. That is reimbursement for costs related to the maintenance of the butterfly garden out on the Dutton Street side of the library. The library will be reimbursed by the Friends of the Library as this is an approved wish list item through that. On page 4, check 83630 to Impact Networking in the amount of $5,178.11. That is monthly fees for our contract printing costs for the printers and copiers throughout the library, both for the public and staff. Also on page 4, check 83669 to RCN in the amount of $2,286.62. That is a monthly payment for our public internet service at the library for the computer labs, Wi-Fi, et cetera, as well as the Makerspace. This was formerly WOW, so they've changed WOW was going out, so this is the new name. On page 5, check 83607 to Effie Moran for $41,302.25. That's the final payment on the HVAC project. And
Tell me again, why is it that capital?
I believe that is capital. Yeah, it's coded as capital.
It's just a check register.
Yeah.
Check. Okay, thank you.
Page 6, 83681 to Sullivan Roofing in the amount of $6,140. That was for a roof inspection and repairs. Effie Moran reimburses for a portion of that invoice for $2,425 via reduction of the retainage on the final billing because there was some damage to the roof when the HVAC unit was placed. So that was then reimbursement. Page 17, check 83615, Good Elport in the amount of $3,399.91. That is for 70 shopping baskets with rollers and locking handles for customer use. So those are the little basket carts that we use within the library. Let's see, page 19, check 83581, Kendall Doors. That was an American Express charge, the amount of $3,483.40. That is for an outside automatic door opener for the Makerspace. So we had an automatic door opener on the inside doors, the outside doors. We wanted to hold off until we had it in the same year as the repair of the concrete panels on the outside because we had to bore through. Then on page 20, check 83621 to Hager Engineering in the amount of $1,600. That is for a plat of survey for the Makerspace. Because we made changes to the parking lot, the old plat was not valid, and a new one was needed for various projects that required the updated plat to get a permit. So things like we're doing a fence, we're going to replace the fence this year, a couple other exterior things that required that plat. That is what I had for the check register. They have to answer any other questions.
I would move that we approve the check register for the Arlington Heights Memorial Library of June 30, 2022 in the amount of $1,148,840.63.
I'll second.
Further discussion? Roll call?
Trustee Gallo? Yes. Trustee Meadow?
Yes.
Trustee Rule?
Yes.
Trustee Smart?
Yes.
Trustee
Aye.
Moving right along to the executive director's report.
Okay, on the first page is Senior Center Tech Fair. Our digital services and senior and accessible services staff and volunteers hosted the first Tech Fair held at the Arlington Heights Senior Center. 79 seniors had a great time sampling many of the library's technology offerings. Attendees experienced virtual reality, strengthened their muscles with the Nintendo Ring Fit, and had their photos taken in outer space at the photo booth. They tried robotics and Mario Kart, learned about the Makerspace, and tried a variety of assistive devices available to borrow from the library. Things also. On the next page, I want to highlight the first Lit Stroll. So the library's first Lit Stroll took place in downtown Arlington Heights. This literary event brought readers together to meet and mingle with Illinois authors that included John Seidel, Mia P. Manasella, Lisa Barr, and Elizabeth Burke. The library partnered with 4 Arlington Heights venues: Peggy Cananes, Lacosta, Hey Nanny, and Arlington Ale House to host an author at each site. 116 people came out to hear about the author's novels and writing process, grab a drink, and mingle with other literary lovers as they stroll.
How did you move 116 people?
That is an excellent question.
You weren't there?
I was not there. I was in ALA.
They actually, I
Yeah.
think they divided them into fours and then they rotated.
Oh, okay.
That was my understanding. I didn't
Yeah,
know we
40, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So the event culminated in a book signing and dessert reception at Arlington Ale House with books available for sale courtesy of the bookstore. On page 4, the library's Bookmobile and Pride pop-up booth made an appearance at the Arlington Heights Farmers Market to celebrate Pride Month. 186 people of all ages stopped by the booth to make buttons, pick up Pride themed stickers, and learn more about the library's Pride book list and local LGBTQ resources. And on page 5, the Arlington Heights Garden Club selected Arlington Heights Memorial Library Butterfly Garden to be featured in their annual garden walk. Library staff greeted 314 visitors during the garden walk. They answered questions and shared stories about how the library's Butterfly Garden initiative grew and is maintained by staff who volunteer their time to take care of the space. Darren Keenan, a volunteer member from the Sierra Club and former library employee, shared her experience in monarch butterflies, seeds, and the Sierra Club's effort to preserve butterfly gardens in Illinois. Visitors were provided giveaways such as bookmarks made of wildflower seeds for planting plants, seeds, as well as a guide to the plants and flowers in the library's butterfly garden. It was a great honor to be part of that garden. On page 7, the Summer Reading Challenge. The 2022 Summer Reading Challenge for youth, birth through 12th grade, officially began on June 6th. People lined up outside the library doors before 9 a.m. in anticipation of signing up for the program. On launch day, the summer reading interns, teen volunteers, and youth services staff helped 525 young customers register for summer reading and challenged them to build the habit of reading all summer long. 1 month into the program, 2,716 youth have registered, which is more than double last year's participants, which was 1,287, and nearing pre-pandemic levels, which in 2019 we had 3,122 participants. Then the Page Turner Summer Reading Program for adults launched on June 1st. Since opening registration, 237 adults have signed up for the program. For June, July, and August, participants are asked to complete 5 activities from a staff curated list to earn a monthly badge. And June saw 72 total badges earned. And on that same page, page 9 at the bottom, programs and exhibit specialist Emily Musinski hosted the return of Ben the Binary, Understanding Gender and Pronouns, presented by retired children's librarian, mother of 2 transgender kids, Heather Cameron Watts. Heather presented to an audience of 16 participants, many with gender expansive or transgender family members. She created a safe space for participants to ask questions and discuss how to create an inclusive environment for everyone, as well as provide a wealth of resources to attendees. Then on page 10, in June, Info Services Advisors created timely book lists, including celebrating Pride Month in literature, commemorating Juneteenth and Juneteenth films. Marketing and communications promoted the lists in mailings and on the library's website. And then on page 11, 9 of the Arlington Heights Memorial Library staff members and 1 trustee attended the 2022 American Library Association Conference. Trustee Debbie Smart, myself, and Friends of the Library board member Jen Burrell presented Friends Foundation and Finds partnerships for building a future with contribution from our foundation president, Lori Hart. This presentation discussed the relationship between the library and the 2 fundraising organizations. Also, while at the conference, our Director of Communications and Marketing, Mary Hastings, and our editorial supervisor, April Harder, received 2 PR Exchange Awards for the team's work on the 2021 Teen Film Fest video and our newsletter design. Okay, that's what I have for the director's report.
Okay. Any old business that's not on the agenda? No.
So,
Yeah.
questions for Mike on the dashboard. Are you pleased with the trends that are moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, the audio, visual and downloadables are down, which as compared to last year, which I guess is understandable as more people are coming out for print as opposed to
Uh-huh.
relying on the ebooks. Overall, print is up 3.8%, so that's good. And I think our program numbers were up significantly as well. So, you know, I feel like we're moving in the right direction. I think the areas that are moving down are understandable, given how things looked last year. Even looking at the drive up and bookmobile numbers, those are down, but the main library numbers are up as far as library visits go. I think that all makes sense. I think we're moving in the right direction.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's move on to new business. We have adoption of proposed revisions to policy 2.006 code of ethics.
Yeah, so I'm bringing you two changes tonight to policies that we did not talk about in the committee of the whole, but these are very minor changes. The first one is the adoption of the proposed revisions to the code of ethics. This is as we started working on our intellectual freedom and library ethics training for staff. We realized that our ethics, the code of ethics policy is not in line completely with ALA's code of ethics. And so we wanted to update that. So we, there was a paragraph added in, I believe it was 2019. And so we wanted to bring ours up to date. So that would be adding 0.9 to the policy. Would you like me to read the addition? Okay. Okay, so the addition is we affirm the inherent dignity and rights of every person. We work to recognize and dismantle systemic and individual biases, to confront inequity and oppression, and to enhance diversity and inclusion, and to advance racial and social justice in our libraries, communities, profession, and associations through awareness, advocacy, education, collaboration, services, and allocation of resources and spaces.
Just for conversation or discussion, it says to confront inequity and oppression, and I always have a challenge when I see aggressive language like that, as opposing to promoting equity and inclusion.
Mhm. Positive versus negative.
Yeah,
This is the ALA verbiage.
Exactly, this is verbatim.
This was a long conversation at ALA this year, by the
Yeah.
way. And there's a lot of people that are looking to change it. And I think that actually is a positive change suggested by trustee Suplet.
I agree.
So if we're going to make a motion, we want to make it with that change in it.
that work for everyone?
Mhm.
Now, well, this is adopting, this policy adopts the American Library Association's code of ethics. So if we change that, then
Then
we're
it
not
can't be
taking
number
the
9.
code of ethics, verbatim.
Which doesn't bother me, but because that have repercussions in terms of, you know, how we're rated by the ALA.
They strongly recommended it. He is right on that.
No,
I'm just talking about what's going on.
ours is better.
I was just, hang on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just tired of getting punched in the face. in
I
front of
agree.
people.
I think I agree. Yeah.
I think if you do that, I think you should have a footnote on there that states that this is, the,
The board disagrees and changes the word to this.
So ours is better.
Yeah, ours is
Trustee
better.
Suplet.
I'm all good with that, Mike. You can footnote it all you want. You can choose the language, but that's what it does.
okay. Can I ask Jolie to chime in here? She's heading up our intellectual freedom. I just want to.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to put you on the spot, but just if you have anything you want.
Well, what I would say is, like Mike said, I'm creating an intellectual freedom and library code of ethics training for all staff. And so in that, I knew what's in our policy right now is verbatim, the ALA library code of ethics. And I noticed it had not been updated, so this was added in 2021. So I went to Mike and I said, you know, if I'm going to do this training and point to the library code of ethics, it should reflect the updated version. So that's kind of the idea behind it.
Oh, we could adopt this wording, but then you could use different words in the training.
I absolutely could use different words in a video training and point, you know,
John's not-
this is how it is in our policy, like as Mike said.
I mean, again, I'll make a motion, we'll have a discussion, and then people can
Okay.
vote it down if they want.
Okay,
But I'll vote to amend the the suggested motion on number 9 by changing the language to confront equity and oppression to include, to promote equity and inclusion.
Inclusion's in the next phrase
Inclusion's
there.
the next one.
Well, I'm on the fly, right? So, well, opposite of oppression is,
You just need a motion.
well,
Well,
I
it's
have
a
a
second.
second.
Okay.
We need a second. yeah, we-
I just,
Well, hang on, as opposed to oppression, we're looking for another words.
your thought.
Sure.
So I see what you're saying, and again, we want to be, I mean, positive, you know, and I hear all that. I'm just taking a pause because, and I'm not privy to the conversation that was at ILA.
You don't wanna be-
Okay, well, that's my disclaimer, but I could see where this would be a discussion point just because of, there is something to be said for, when you confront oppression, that is very strong language, right? But that also is a reason that it's strong language, is because it isn't about being, sometimes I think policies get very broad and they try to be as accommodating in general to be able to be acceptable. And like, okay, but then that might sometimes lead for interpretation when it's direct and says, no, we confront oppression. So that's just where I'm pausing. I'm not saying I disagree at all with
Yeah.
Trustee Supplet. So I'm just pausing on a vote just because I'm thinking if we want to leave that wiggle room or we want to follow with ALA or how.
Well, let me amend my, let me amend my motion to, promote equity and freedom. And, there's a motion to have a second. If there's a second, then we can discuss it in the next part of the discussion. And,
Second to get it on the table?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay. Discussion.
so, to Trustee Gallo's point, you know, I don't want to put our staff in a position of confrontation. I just don't want to do that. And not that this is going to be what the force that would do that, but there it is. And so that's, again, the thought process is, I don't want to put staff in the position of having to be confrontational, as opposed to something more constructive.
So at ALA, the conversation that was going on, and it was very robust, I will tell you, and very heated at times, was the overall direction that ALA is going is not necessarily something that fits every library in the country, and particularly by state or by region. And many of the smaller community libraries in particular are feeling that they're being drowned out in their voices and getting their support. And certainly are feeling that many of these type of languages are trying to force a point with them that they're not comfortable with. So one of the things that was discussed and was actually encouraged was if a library feels it needs to change the verbiage to fit its particular scenario, you know, they were kind of giving people that room, okay? But the main point is this: we need to be doing exactly what we're doing in regards to our code of ethics and falling in line with ALA, to the most part. And I think one of the things that John says is absolutely true. We have had people, most recently, who have had tough experiences in regards to some of the things that we have adopted here. And I think we have always tried to be a board that wants to lead to positive interaction and verbiage. And this does seem a bit negative to me. And I think the other issue is how do we let a library staff member, not as intelligent or sophisticated or as well-trained as some of our other people and our leadership team, decide what oppression is? And I think that's where John's coming from. Am I right on that?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But this is a topic that is ongoing at ALA, I will tell you.
Now, this particular one was adopted in 21, correct?
21, but they've got another one now that came out
Yeah.
this session that is even more down the road.
Have they opened up the discussion on meeting rooms again?
Yes,
Oh, did they?
the session was very long, I will be honest with you.
That
Mike
was
failed on me.
heated.
But it was, there's definitely, I think, from a national perspective with ALA, the thing now that my term is up, and I was gracious enough, lucky enough to serve for this library in this community, is the library world is becoming very polarized as our country is.
Yeah.
And not only because of belief systems, but also types of libraries. The academic libraries are moving to the forefront in leadership positions. And a lot of the public libraries are moving back into the kind of the PLA place to voice and that.
They always have.
Yeah, but it's even worse. now.
I learned 20 years ago, I don't know, longer, when I vote for council,
Yeah.
public library. That's
Well,
all I do.
that's
And if my votes don't add up, they have to be public library, don't vote for them.
Well, get ready because your new president is not. So she's young, she's very, very intelligent. She's gonna shake some things up, I think, at ALA. She's a very bright young lady who is very intelligent, but comes from the university.
Well, and you know
background.
why? Because they've got time on their
I know they
hands.
do.
So many librarians are very busy. No, they do. Who works the public desks at academic libraries? The students.
Yeah.
The librarians are in back doing this
Researching.
kind of thing and writing and publishing and
Right.
all of that.
And that's one reason I didn't renew my term, because I can't meet in the middle of the day all the time like they can. But
Yeah.
I think it's important that we adopt something and people understand why we're adopting it. And I want to make sure it's the proper platform for our management team to move forward in their training.
Do you feel the word dismantle is too strong? Is that putting too much pressure on staff? We work to recognize and dismantle systemic and individual biases.
I think as an action word, dismantle isn't appropriate for this either.
Okay.
Work to recognize and a lot of good words out there.
Address.
Could be a little bit stronger.
Yeah, addresses, I guess it's,
No, they're very strong
well,
and maybe chosen purposely. So, I mean, I'm thinking if we either decide, it sounds like if it's either we go with ALA or then we take a pause to kind of, if we're trying to, if I'm understanding correctly, trying to put some own words in. Yeah.
Could I ask, how do you feel about in the training? Do you feel that this is a little bit too in the face?
So what I would say is, when I saw this, I felt there was gonna be a discussion about it. I didn't think it would be, I knew there would be a discussion. I'm a professional librarian for 10 years. I fall in line with ALA and I respect their code of ethics. So as what they're saying, I wholeheartedly believe in. In training staff, like to your point, probably in the training, I would say we follow, ALA library code of ethics and then explain what that is in my own terminology anyway. They can find this on the ALA website. So I do think like if we left off point number 9, that's also saying something. If you completely leave off point number 9.
I think if we do make any modification, it should be addressed in, the beginning of the policy, stating that, that we endorse the ALA Code of Ethics with modification, and then
Yeah.
pause modification.
We work to recognize and negate systemic and individual.
Oh, yeah.
biases.
That's a good word.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dismantle is a little,
Well, again, it's an action
it's-
word that's suggesting
a lot of-
that
yeah.
staff is going to do this, not, in this case, not just with the customer, but with one another. I mean, I know this is really in the weeds and such, but this is what boards do, I guess. And negates systemic and individual biases. I think,
do you want to take what you have said?
Yeah, I'll amend my
Have it, staff kind of massages a bit and then bringing us back.
And bring it back.
Sure.
when we-
Rather
Yeah, does that
than-
work time-wise?
Kyle, bring it back
Yeah,
to Kyle.
we'll bring it in.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think my only concern, it does feel, we talked about this even at work, like, instead of don't touch this, it's like,
Right.
there's different ways to say that, right? However, I want to make sure that we're not just making platitudes, because I think that this is a really important, we want to make sure that it still means something in the end, and that, certainly not putting any kind of staff in jeopardy or any kind of like dangerous situation where they are in a confrontational, physical type situation, but also that we are standing behind our morals.
Well, I mean, when you read the other 8, this stands out a bit. You can tell that this was
Oh,
an
yeah,
add-on years later.
yeah.
Yeah,
So recognize and negate and promote equity and freedom. Yeah.
What about the rest of that paragraph?
to enhance diversity and inclusion.
Yeah.
To advance racial, those are positive. Yeah. Well, or if you're comfortable, well, maybe you wanna noodle around a bit
Sure.
before we
Yeah.
approve
Is
it.
that your preference?
Or,
Or we could slam this down
I mean,
and lock it up.
it's really up to the board if you'd like us to go back and massage it further. I wouldn't want to make a lot of, I don't want to rewrite the paragraph.
no.
So, if there's if you guys are happy with these small changes, then I would say.
3 words we're talking about, right?
1, 2, 3, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe, right at the beginning. To add with.
So the motion is to qualify the adoption of the ALA policy 2.06 code of ethics with
Number.
modifications to number 9. That's stated. That work?
Are you comfortable with that, Mike? Yeah, or do you feel you wanna take it back?
I think it might be, maybe will take it back. And,
Okay.
I mean, if we're not under,
So we have to vote the motion down.
I can withdraw.
yeah,
it.
then it's-
Okay, go ahead.
I will withdraw the motion.
okay. Then we'll bring it back to the committee.
And we could just say, we've tabled this action item.
Yeah.
And, like I said, I don't want to rewrite the paragraph. We'll start with those 3 changes. It'll give us an opportunity to think about what this opening paragraph states to.
Preamble.
Just for the benefit of, to understand the populace of ALA, a few years ago, there was just a big brouhaha about meeting room policy. And with ALA, and ALA made changes in order so that this would withstand legal, what's the word I'm looking for? Challenges, thank you, legal challenges. And it basically was, you gotta open your room up for everyone, including hate groups. And they use that term,
They do,
hate
yeah.
groups. Oh my Lord, it's like you lit a fire and everybody was screaming, yelling. And so what they did, they went back, they just, okay, and they went back to, they made no changes. They kept the original policy. That didn't get as specific. But basically, it was trying to help say, you gotta do, if you deny these groups, then you could wind up in court.
Yeah.
But that's not what the members wanted to hear. So and it was really heated. Yeah, I'm sure it took over several council meetings. Okay, moving on to the next one, adoption of proposed revisions to policy 5.002, issuance of library cards and conditions of use.
Okay, so we discussed this a little bit when we approved the unincorporated card fee. This is reflecting the change to the Public Library Act that states that the board may now adopt regulations waiving the non-resident fee for persons under the age of 18. So previously it was students under, below the, I think it's U.S. Department of Agriculture's income eligibility guidelines. Now they've opened it up to everybody under the age of 18. We could waive that that fee, and that is at the option of the board.
Right, the first one is required by law.
Right.
The second is optional with board action.
Right, so my proposal tonight is to adopt that and waive that fee, the non-resident card fee for persons under the age of 18.
It is recommended by the state of Illinois.
Unless you have a situation. We create a firestorm.
Mhm.
We have people that are paying $600 to the library in taxes, and their neighbor is not in our district. So we give a card to that minor, which the whole family's gonna use.
Mm.
So one's paying 600, one's getting it for free. So we're stuck, And it's an affluent area. It's one thing when you're dealing with financially distressed people, but what we're talking about is more affluent, so we really can't do it. But here, you know, I see no reason why this shouldn't be adopted.
So the changes on the second page of the policy, page 2 of 7, in section 3, so it's in red. So we're changing from a library card is issued without fee to a non-resident in an unincorporated area in Illinois who is a student in a host household that falls at or below the U.S. Department of Agriculture's income eligibility guidelines to an unincorporated area in Illinois who is under the age of 18. So it strikes that eligibility and then replaces it with under the age of 18. And our attorney did review this and state that that would be the appropriate way.
You know, up above it, it says it's gotta be, under the age of 18, it's gotta be accompanied by a parent or whatever it says.
Yeah, the cardholder listed on the account or the parent or guardian if they're under the age of 18. Is that what you're?
Yeah, does that apply to this?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
Carol? I move approval of policy 5.002, issuance of library cards and conditions of use.
Is there a
I
second?
second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right. Any other?
I got a couple things. Since you paid for me to go, I'll do 30-second review of
No,
what
please
happened.
do. I was gonna
Sure,
ask
absolutely.
that too.
So,
Ask to do that.
my term, on United for Libraries Board officially ended June 30th. Not too soon. No, but I did attend a meeting and, was honored to meet, Emily, Dramenowski, who is going to be the incoming ALA president. And got to spend some time with her. She is a very energetic, forward-thinking academic librarian from the state of New York. She plans on moving here to be in the center of things and is very committed to moving ALA forward and realizes there is a lot of conversations that need to be had, as we just discussed one of them. But she is extremely bright and articulate young lady, and I feel really good about it. So I think some good things are going to happen. We have had sizable turnover at ALA, just so you guys are aware, through COVID. And as you know, it's particularly young staff to begin with anyway. And we have now moved the headquarters to a very small facility in downtown because we sold the ALA headquarters buildings 3 years ago. And most of our people are working remotely. The major topics that occurred at our meeting were the Intellectual Freedom Task Force is moving forward. We are doing a lot of work to try to help boards, trustees, and librarian staff with the onslaught of issues regarding book banning, pulling books, those sorts of things. And I was on that task force until June 30th. They have put together a lot of materials. If you guys have not been out to the United for Libraries website lately, I suggest all of you spend about an hour cruising around. It is seen a rebirth over the last 2 years that I've been on the board. That is pretty impressive. There are a lot of tools out there for staff. There's a lot of tools out there for trustees, a lot of information, and they're doing a fantastic job of really reorganizing themselves.
Can you email us the link to that?
Yeah, and membership is up in the United for Libraries. If you guys don't know, there's like 18 divisions in the American Library Association. United for Libraries is one. It's quite an interesting group of people. I did sit next to the representative from the Chicago Public Library Foundation, is my neighbor on my board chair. She sits next to me and was throwing things at me the entire meeting because of our new hire that will be starting on July 26th. She said, we really got a good one there. We should be very happy. So
She came from CPL, right?
yeah, so she knows her well,
Oh, good.
and it was kind of interesting because the day we were there, this particular person was actually in the New York Times, wrote an article on her about how she ended up marrying somebody who she'd seen every year at her high school reunion. It's kind of interesting for her. But things are quite interesting. So we have a new, also a new United for Libraries president, also Jerry Tyler is done from Des Moines, and we have several new board members, and I mean, it's a real turnover for them. So it'll be interesting to see how things go. But the big conversations were, number one, what we just discussed. Two, the direction of the overall ALA organization and benefits for some of the divisions like public libraries is a big, big deal. Where are we going in regards to activism, Roe versus Wade? Why are we getting involved in this? They did do, if you go out and look at some of the documentation, they did pass several motions sanctioning several things which are political in nature. So they are moving more towards an activism, political tone in their demeanor.
They've always had some
Well,
of that.
it's
I
pretty
remember,
interesting now.
I remember, and always wondered, ALA really got in deep on apartheid.
Yeah,
And I thought, aren't we about how apartheid is affecting libraries is what we should be looking at. But they never endorse candidates or anything like that, but they get into the political fray.
but I will say this, that one of the comforting things that they did, I found, and I did contribute, was they have started a library fund to rebuild Ukraine libraries after the war. So you can actually go out to ALA's website if you want to contribute to that. It might be something nice to let our employees even know.
You know what they should do? They should join forces with Rotary. We found out there's like 65 clubs,
Yeah,
Rotary clubs in Ukraine.
yeah.
Now, this was at the beginning of the war, but this was like in May. All of them were still meeting except for one. All of them were still meeting. I mean, they were absolutely committed,
Yeah,
and Rotary could carry, that would be a good partnership.
so that would be, so, but they are committed to getting things ready to go in there and rebuild the libraries for them. Most of them have been destroyed at this point in time.
Oh,
It's sad, and they actually were shelters where a couple were bombed before them, so it's been rough. So we did hear from a Ukrainian library on here, and it was good. We had the federal, the opening session was the woman from the federal FDA, or
No, it was.
no, Federal Communication Commission.
OFCT.
Yeah, FTC. She was enlightening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all about school libraries. And that's the other thing that they're trying to get more attention is how are public libraries partnering with their school libraries? So that's a big deal too of this. And, we should be complimented. We do such an incredible job, and we are so proactive on this, and our staff is so good. And, people were coming up to, we got the third highest rating, our presentation, by the way.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, we had a nice crowd for
Yeah.
4 o'clock on a Saturday. Most of them were.
Wow.
We were lucky. We had a good crowd. We were actually part of the suggested for trustee day. So we had a good crowd. A lot of people came up afterwards. And I think a few people have reached out to you since.
Yeah.
And they were amazed that we actually have a foundation and a friends group that get along and have one purpose, which is the best for our community and the best for our library, and trying to help our staff get the things that they need to do their job. And it was a good way to go out. I think it was a rough weekend there with
Yeah.
Roe versus Wade. It was very,
Friday
was
was
not safe.
crazy,
I will
not
tell you, it was
safe.
not safe.
Mm.
Well, I got up one morning and there were probably 50 police officers in our lobby.
Mm.
They apparently had gotten within 2 blocks of our hotel the night before. And the other thing that was just striking was the homelessness and the sadness. I mean, I bawled my eyes out. It was sad. We couldn't believe it. It was,
All homelessness?
oh, it was rampant. They're like now sleeping. So if you know anything about Washington, you know, Washington has beautiful French boulevards.
Mhm.
And they have beautiful, you know, medians in the meadow with grass, and they're sleeping on the grassy part of the median. It was sad. Or it just makes you sad to see the state our country is actually in these days. And, but it was an honor to go. I did receive the Crystal Book Award,
Very nice.
which was nice. So I'll, you know, turn that over, you know, with the library assets. But, from the United for Libraries. So, you know,
Now, is it really-
strategize.
Is United for Libraries the old Palooza,
Yes.
Friends of the
Yes,
Library?
they
you know,
combine,
thing?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's friends, foundations, trustees.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's who they serve. And they, I mean, on the report, they have really done a very nice job. They have a really good director, Beth Navlowski, is her name, and she's been there for a couple of years, and they got a couple of young people who are really doing very good work. So I'll look at you the link. You really should go out and look at it. There's a lot of good resources out there. But I was honored to serve. I'm done.
Great, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Oh, no, it was fun.
Anything, Deb?
Very informative.
Mike, you got anything to say from our trip?
I think it was a great presentation that we gave.
We did.
And,
I'll tell you, Jen Burrell killed it. She was fantastic. Fantastic.
we did
Yeah.
have, good interaction with the, you know, people hung around afterwards and talked with us. Received emails from a few people. I think the MOUs were the big thing that people were really interested in. So I had a QR code up on the screen that people could, you know, just click on and download the MOUs. So we made them available to people. Some people have reached out to me afterwards asking for them. So it was, yeah, I think it was a good thing.
We're blessed. That's all I gotta say.
Jolie, you want to add anything about your trip?
You were there.
Sorry, that's pretty else.
I would just echo what trustee Smart said about the Ukrainian libraries. I went to that session and saw she was the past president of Ukrainian libraries.
Yeah.
And it was probably the best session I attended.
I
It really
agree.
stuck with me. Like
Yeah.
she had pictures and how we could help, and it really,
It was emotional. It was
Yeah,
emotional.
thinking about
It was emotional,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah, it was very emotional. And I think ALA's come a long way too, just the way they ran the convention, don't you think? I mean, everything was virtual, there wasn't a paper, you didn't see paper around. You saw, you know, everything was on your phone or laptop, and I thought it was a well-run, I did get this number. They were expecting 8,000 and we had over 13,000.
Yeah, I think 14, I think it was just a tad under 14.
Yeah, it might have been by the time it was
So
done.
that's less than normal, but still double, almost
Yeah.
double what they thought.
Yeah, so it was,
Let's see what Chicago brings.
I think it'll be very crowded.
Chicago usually used to bring about 25,000.
Right, I think it's, you know, easiest to travel to, right? So,
As long as there's, people don't get hijacked and mugged on the street. Oh.
I do have two other things for others.
Yes.
Okay, I wanted the board to know that Lisa Baus, our collection services manager, was awarded the Technical Services Award from the Illinois
Very
Library
nice.
Association.
oh, that
So
grapevine, that
I
was
think you guys saw that,
fantastic, yeah.
But I did send you a link also to details on that. And then I want to let you guys know that I will be out of the office starting tomorrow afternoon through the 25th. So taking a few days off.
Yeah. You take a lot of time this year.
Catch you.
How long you been working here?
Yeah.
We only have 5 years.
Yeah, right.
You better check that out.
So, anything else? Motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wow, good meeting you.
Well done.